So I finally beat Metroid Dread a couple weeks ago for the first time. I've had it practically since it came out, but I've never been able to beat it till recently. And it's a great game. We're not really going to be talking about all of it today. We're just going to be focusing on the background elements and set pieces of Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread does a lot of things right, except the music. But one of the things, in my opinion, it does in spades are its background elements and attention to detail in those backgrounds. Just a brief heads up, I do want to be able to talk about everything that happens in the game. So, spoiler warning, I guess, for anyone who is worried about that. So, the Metroid series has always been one that has very much been focused on atmosphere, and has been very good at setting that atmosphere as well. The background set pieces and elements that Metroid Dread has really help sell the feel that you're stranded and powerless on a planet. Here's a really cool instance of a background element foreshadowing something that you'll have to fight later. I showed the footage a little earlier, but within the first 30 minutes of the game, you're running away from an Emmy. You finally get out that Emmy zone door, and then in the background, you can see this cloaked kind of monster thing that's invisible, but you can see kind of the outlines. You can see that it's using a cloak, I guess, is a better way to put it. You watch it grab an animal and then go into the water, and then that's it. Like, the game pays no attention to it. If you're not looking at the background, you can completely pass it, but because of that adrenaline rush that you get from just trying to get away from the Emmy without being able to do anything, once you finally get out and you're able to take a breather, you see that in the background. And so I think that was just an amazing design choice to put right there. And then what makes that little animation in the background that just happened even cooler is a little later when you have to return to that area, you actually see the big cloaked monster again. But instead he's in a different spot. The first time when you pass through this area, you see a big hole. And it's kind of like, what kind of animal made that, you know? What kind of animal made that gigantic hole in the middle of the wall? But then you see that it's that same giant animal with that cloaking ability that made that hole. You see him directly go through it. It's so sick. They also have the creature like make a growl noise. It's really cool and it adds a lot to it. And then when you actually enter the boss room to fight this creature thing that you've continued seeing, it starts off with his cloaking ability and you see him use it and then reveal himself. And then when you beat him, you gain his cloaking ability. He even uses it in the fight too. Also, I love how just straight up bored Samus looks in this fight. And then when he charges at her, he's just like... Anyway, sometimes it's the little things though that add a lot of character. Like this rock you see in the background here. Or this giant flame pillar that spirals around as you run through this kind of tunnel thing. Or how about these flags that move back and forth in the background? There's also this really cool section of the game where you have to turn back on a generator, and because the generator's not on, all the lights are out. So the only way you can see Samus is through the glowing lights on her suit, and the environment is lit up with the few lights that are still on, and it's really, really cool. It was definitely one of my favorite parts of the game. Some of the backgrounds are just so nice to look at, like these random waterfalls in the background here, or the side of the facility here where you can see it being hit by these massive waves of water. I really like how dark and atmospheric this elevator to Berenia is. This is also a really cool set piece that you get to see later. You get to see that boss in the background that you killed really, really early in the game, kind of getting tortured, I guess that's not really cool, but anyway, he gets infected by the X later and then becomes a really big problem for you, and you actually have to backtrack and re-kill it, and he's kind of reformed and a lot stronger because that's what the X does. Anyway, it's really cool that they added this in the background. You actually see the body missing at one point in the game. I can't find the footage, but that's anyway. Throughout the game, you fight these bosses called the robot Chozo soldiers. And these are really cool looking military dudes who have spears and stuff. Anyway, you fight them throughout the game. They all enter the fight in different ways. They all have their own unique animation. Most of the time, they're just standing there waiting for you. But this one, you actually fall into a pit. And as soon as you fall down to the fighting arena, you see the silhouette of the Chozo soldier in the foreground. And then he actually jumps from the foreground into the, I guess, main space where Samus is. And I just thought that was really, really cool. The final robot Chozo you fight in the game, you can actually see in the background before you go to his arena to fight him. and he does this really sick flip off of a ship surrounded by lightning and thunder, and it's raining and everything. It's really, really cool. And then he does this sick animation when you actually enter the fight where he flips around his little spear. He goes... That's not how spinning a spear sounds. So yeah, that's about all for this video. Thank you guys so much for listening, and please go play Metroid games and buy Metroid games so that they will make more. They'll never do it, but anyway. You're so funny. Look at the camera at least. Oh, the glare! Cat, come on. Cat, you're making... Oh, shit! Okay, you're getting it. Alright. Woo! She's going crazy. She hates me so much. You know, you gotta get on camera, Cat. Oh, look directly at him, bro. Look at the fans.